Alright, gonna do another video about my Hi-Point 9mm carbine. And in the familiar setting on the bed in the back room. So, what do we have here? A grip. A forward grip, I guess they're called if you're looking to Google them. Also, sometimes just a foregrip, but I guess generally a forward grip. Now, what are these? Now, I had seen these on a lot of tactical guns before. That, there's a certain guy on YouTube that I guess I kind of am, but he takes himself really seriously. I'm talking about a type of person, not one particular guy. And he thinks he's such a badass and he's tactical. He's got all his tactic stuff, and he's running around, pop, pop, pop. It's kind of stupid. But at any rate, I noticed a lot of these tactical guys, they have these forward grips on their guns, and I didn't know what the heck that was. And the main thing is, I thought it was ugly. Okay, I just thought it was terribly ugly on any guns. They're ARs, high points, whatever. Anything. I thought it was terribly ugly. And so I was never interested in them. And then, I guess for whatever reason, within the last 2 to 3 weeks, I started getting interested in them. I finally found out what they're for, and I guess the point of them is not really to hold it like this, although you can. It's more to give you a grip up front. Because if you think about it, gripping this without any foregrip, it's kind of, not the easiest thing in the world. I mean, it works fine and everything. But if you have something to grip here, it's better. And a lot of them hold it like this. You can also get angled foregrips and whatnot. They don't have to be this type of vertical grip. So you basically could put your hand like this. Kind of hard to do it with one hand. And you have more of a lot more. And you're not fully you're not holding it like this. Although you can do that, like I said. But it's more like to hold it like this or something. It's hard to do from this position. But just where it gives you something to grip on up here. And so I saw a guy who was explaining in one of his videos why he liked it, and he said, just so I can push it into my shoulder more and give myself a more steady sight picture and everything, because I have something to grip better and push into my shoulder. And I kind of like that idea of it, where you're not really holding it like this, but you're just using it to grip better. So I started thinking, that's kind of cool. Maybe I do want these. I also don't mind how it looks anymore. I mean, it's like this Hi-Point. I hated how it looked at first, but now I like it. You get used to stuff. Well, actually, I never hated how the Hi-Point looked. Let's say the magazine, extended red ball mag. I used to hate how that looked. Now that I've got one, I like how it looks. I mean, genuinely, I'm not just saying that. So I guess my opinions can change on that. And mainly this whole gun game, really all it's about is just farting around. None of us are ever going to be in a war, more than likely. Unless we're in the military. But it's just something to fart around and play with. And I figured this was a reasonable price, I could add something else to my gun for the heck of it, Just like the scope, just like anything I put on here, It's just something to do, really, for lack of a better term. So I thought, what? I think I want to get a foregrip for my Hi-Point. But there's more to it than I thought. Mainly that there's different foregrips and how they mount. There's M-LOK ones. And I didn't know anything about any of these. I've never mounted anything M-LOK. So I didn't know how that worked. So I had to go down a whole learning curve. Now, with this Hi-Point, I had trouble before. I mentioned how some scope mounts don't fit this rail because it's not a Picatinny rail. Picatinny is the one with a certain spec, okay? Weaver is the one that doesn't have any spec. It has Weaver rails, so they're goofy. They have real thin grooves, I guess, so a lot of stuff doesn't fit them. I had some trouble fitting the scope on, because these pins don't fit correctly into these grooves. They don't fit because the grooves are too small, etc., etc. A lot of things seem to be made for Picatinny rails, and these are like non-standard Weaver rails on the Hi-Point. They give it trouble. Now there was a forward grip on the Hi-Point website, and it's it's $25. But then after shipping, it was $6 to Texas, so it was $31, and that was kind of high. I mean, it's nothing really, but I didn't want to spend $30 on just because I wasn't even sure if I wanted one. I thought I'll get one, I'll try it out, see if I like it, But if I don't want to be out any more money than I have to be. So So I was at the local gun store today, and I ended up getting I'll go ahead and get it out. Hold on. A Magpul grip, and I didn't know how the heck I was going to attach any of this or anything. And on Amazon, I had gotten some rails, a rail kit, and it was like $10, and I saw they've already raised the price to like $15. So I guess they're selling or something. It was like $9.99, and it got decent reviews, So it's a kit of like 4 little rails, I think. So you attach the rails. I had never even really paid attention to my high point, and I thought this was the only rail it had up front. And this one is kind of flimsy; it's not really on there too good. So I thought putting a foregrip on there, and plus it's kind of far out for a foregrip, right? So I wasn't so sure about that, but I thought, well, I guess that's what people do. But I didn't realize it has this grip under here. This one's much more solidly attached. It's very solid. This one seems a little flimsy, like I said. And it's in a better position to put a foregrip on. So it does have a rail under there that I never even noticed before, or at least not consciously. I'm sure I felt it and everything. I just never thought, I had the slightest thought that, hey, there's a rail under there, because I never paid any attention to it. But it does. It has built-in. So that's where I put the foregrip. Now, I got this, and I'm thinking I'm going to put one on my AR too. I got this, but I thought maybe I'd just get one and I'd switch it between the two guns, and see if I liked it, whatever. I was still trying to be cheap, just get one. So I got this Magpul, and I came home from the gun store, and I didn't know how it hooked. And I tried to hook it to this rail, and sure enough, just like the scope, just like I keep having problems with accessories with this high point, it wouldn't fit, because it has these lugs like this, and these lugs are just like the other scope mount I had, the cantilever scope mount. They're too thick. They will not fit. These grooves are too thin, and these lugs have to fit in between them. They just don't fit, so it won't fit on there. This is the Magpul one, obviously, and that's how you attach it. You just do these screws and you screw it down, but it won't fit because of these lugs. And I tried it on a Picatinny rail on my AR, the actual top one where the scope goes and stuff, because that's the only rail it has right now. And sure enough, those lugs fit fine in there, because that's a Picatinny rail, I assume. But this, once again, the High Point Weirdo Weaver rails had me stumped. So I didn't know what to do. This was about $25 at the gun shop. About $27, $28 after tax. But I decided to keep it. Well, and I went back to the gun shop like an hour later, because I had seen these NC Star ones on the shelf. And I also looked all these up online. And the problem online is you can generally get the grip cheaper, but then the shipping will be $10 or $12 and it cancels out. There was a foregrip from UTG online, for example, and it had real high ratings and everything. It was like $8.99. Okay, that's awesome. Awesome price. Then you go, I looked at cheaperthandirt.com and another Optics Planet. It was like the main two that had them. Both places wanted about $10 shipping. I think Optics Planet was a little cheaper overall. So those $8 and $10 foregrips look so awesome end up being $20 to $25 foregrips after you get shipping in. Which Amazon has these Magpuls for like $24. So I'm like, well, I'll spend a couple more bucks and get it right away, because it's always way more fun to get something that same day than wait a week for it in the mail. Especially with this coronavirus, especially if you're ordering from a vendor that's not Amazon, so you don't know how long shipping is going to take from Cheaper Than Dirt or Optics Planet or anything. If it's Amazon, I know Prime's in there, it's going to probably give me fast shipping. Although in this coronavirus time, who even knows? But anyway, so yeah, that's how things went down. So I decided to go to Academy and just look around. Academy had the Magpuls. They only had them in a flat dark earth color, and they were $20. I noticed they charge less for the FDE flat dark earth version than they do for the black ones, which is kind of chintzy. The black ones are like $24, and the flat dark earth ones are like $20. But I didn't want to get one of those mismatched color. I needed a black one, so I didn't buy it at Academy. I thought about it, and then I went to this gun store. Like I said, the major gun store in town. It's pretty cool, and they're pretty big. They got a lot of stuff, and like I said, I saw these two on shelves. They had the Magpul, sure enough, for same as Academy, and the prices were very comparable too. It was like $25 there instead of maybe $24 from Academy. Big deal. Now this is a gun shop, and like I said, it's not a big chain. It has a few stores locally, It's a pawn shop actually, but then they have a dedicated gun shop store too. If that makes any sense. Like I said, it's a big gun store and has a lot of cool stuff, but as you might expect from a small scale retailer, their prices can be high. Sometimes they're not too bad. Like as on this, it was basically like $1 more than Academy had it for, I think. And they actually had it in stock. That's no big deal. The black one, they had plenty of them. Whereas Academy did not have any of the black ones. So I bought it from there. I took it home and I was going to mount it on my AR. I've never mounted anything on M-LOK before. I didn't know how they worked. So I thought you could just put it in there, but you can't really. Well, if you have a certain kind, because they do include another mount for M-LOK stuff. But it turns out that won't really work on my M-LOK handguard. It's more for like the plastic ones. And what you have to do is you have to actually take the somewhere in here, this little mount. It's like a mounting rail basically. Like the thing can mount to it, just like it would to a Weaver rail. It's kind of almost a little Weaver rail, Picatinny rail. It's kind of a little rail itself, and it comes with these bracket mounting. But I couldn't make heads or tails of this. I was like, how do these work? You know, how does that go in there? They don't, by the way, because you can see they don't fit. I didn't know, so I had to actually Google the instructions. It doesn't include any instructions. I actually Googled the instructions on how to put the damn thing on. And basically, this is just for the plastic Magpul handguard that you see on some guns. The kind of square-shaped ones, I don't know how to describe them. So it doesn't really apply to most guns. Because I was really I believe the handguard has to be off for you to even put this on, okay? So I guess those plastic handguards may be really easy to slip off or whatever, I don't know. But so basically this whole mounting hardware doesn't even apply to me. It took me a while to figure it out because I don't know anything about this Magpul stuff or how it works before. But I learned because I looked up on YouTube. So the way the main way this thing attaches is you're going to have to attach a rail. I don't have any rails underneath my AR right now. Like I said, the $10 rail kit from Amazon with like 4 different sizes of rails is coming. And it's a Magpul kit, so it'll hook to Magpul. So basically you just hook them up to the rails like this, but they won't work on this rail, as I said. And then you screw them down. I got screws on this side. So that'll be good once I have the rail, but I don't have the rail on my AR. I have to wait for them to come in the mail, which I think they're scheduled for like Friday or next week or something. Because it's not super fast shipping from Amazon right now. And it wasn't even from Amazon, it's like from a third-party seller. So I've also learned how Magpul actually works now. And basically they work with, now this can't demonstrate it because this doesn't have anything, but like on the rails I got, they have the right kind of bolt. The way it works is you actually put the kind of the bolt in there and you turn it, and it's designed in such a way it has like, it's really hard to explain, but it has like an interior bolt. And so the little bolt will turn, or nut, turns a little, but it only can turn so far in the mounting slots. And then it catches, and then you just screw it in. So just Google how to do it in YouTube if you're confused about it like me. So then once it screws in, that's how you just screw your little rail. Like I'll just screw a little rail section to underneath my AR like that. And then I'll hook this to the rail section. It seems to me like they could make these attached directly somehow. Like a little piece like is in there. Put a little piece of rail. Why can't they just put a little rail in there? You know, I guess they want you to put your rail on because then you have a lot of flexibility. You can take this off and put something else on, whatever. But I don't know why every piece doesn't just come with a little section of rail itself, so that you can always hook whatever you bought to the thing instead of needing a rail to hook everything to. You know what I mean? I don't quite get it, but whatever. So yeah, I have to wait. But the thing I like about this is you can definitely tell it's a little higher quality at $24. Maybe you can't tell as much on the phone, but in person, you can tell it's nicer. So it looks much better with my AR, which is kind of like my higher class gun. And you know, this High Point, I just put all the cheap stuff on. Cheap 1x4, cheap handguard. Now this was only $14.99 at the gun store. It's an NC Star brand. And it's pretty neat. It'll fit almost any rail, I guess. It's like a universal, which is really cool. And I didn't have to spend $30 on the official High Point one either. And how it works is it has just a thing on the bottom that tightens it. And all it is this is fixed. This doesn't bolt down like this one. It's just fixed. and you just slide it under your rail, which it fit perfectly for whatever reason. And then you just tap it along till you find, and you have to look through this little hole, which you can't really see now because there's no clearance there. You have to look through this little hole, and there'll be like a little post sticking up. And you line it up with one of the, by looking in the hole, they call it a witness hole. It goes all the way through so you can see. It'll line up with one of the grooves, and like a little peg will go in a post, goes up in there. It's a circle. It's not a full bar, and then it goes up in the thing, and then there's like a round circle thing. It's kind of hard to explain. I guess I don't want to take it off, sorry, but if you get it, you'll see. It's pretty much universal, and it worked very well for this. And it's solid. You know, it might not be the most solid thing in the world. It's a $15 mount, but it's real solid. Like, I was messing with it earlier, and it'll bend this rail a little bit. You know, this thing won't bend, so it's real solid. I'm definitely, you know, it's not $1,000. You know, again, if you're tactical and only want the best and all that business, you may not want it. But for me, it's real solid. You know, this ain't going nowhere, which was one concern I had with it, just based on how thin it looks and everything. In person, no. And so I can highly recommend this for $14.99. And I'm sure that online you can get this for like $8, just like the UTG. So I think it's good. You know, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't put it in a nice raft. I'd put something like this that looks a little more quality. But like for this high point, or if you're just in a pinch, or just, it works fine, you know. So yeah, I wouldn't. And it's got like a slit here, so you can tighten it harder if you want. You'll put some kind of any kind of thin metal thing in there to turn it. You know, would work. It's not really sized for a screwdriver, but you could put it very low. You could just get a butter knife, you know, and put it in that slot and turn that and get some more traction and stuff. Rather than by just hand tightening it, seems fine. You can also just obviously hand tighten it. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this thing for $14.99, and that's at the expensive gun shop, you know, a gun store. It's not a chain like Academy's. It's an NC Star mount, and like I said, another big plus of it is it fits my high point rail, whereas this did not. As I said, that's not its fault, but the thing I like better about this is it looks a lot more quality, you know. And it kind of feels more quality and all that. What do you expect? This obviously is just a cheap low-end thing. But it works, and like I said, it fits with the high point motif. I'm putting all cheap stuff on my high point mostly. And so yeah, that's the whole deal of now. And I've already shouldered it, of course, and felt it and stuff. And I do like the, you know, I may not leave it on there forever, but I definitely do like the pistol grip, you know, aspect. I think it's cool. It is nice to grip. So yeah, so that's the NC Star pistol grip. If you have a high point, it works on it very well. The gun shop guy was a little helpful. He's a little rude, but when I got it, I asked him. Well, it was in like a sealed plastic case, like one of those not frustration-free packaging at all that you have to cut open to get at the thing. So I asked him, I said, like, "What's your return policy?" Because I wasn't sure if it was going to fit. He's like, "Oh, you know, you can bring it back within 30 days in the original packaging." And I was like, "Well, if I cut this thing open out of this packaging, you know, is that going to work?" Because, you know, like I said, it's one of those packagings that, like, you know, those hard case plastic ones that you can't really put back together very well. And he was like, well, not really, no, you won't be able to." If you saw, I was like, "Well," I was like, "I don't know if it's going to fit on my gun." He goes like, what are you putting it on?" And there was a bunch of these high points on the wall right there. By the way, I noticed the cheapest one was $2.99 now. Well, it's probably always been $2.99 at the store, but I got mine for $2.49. But that was like a year ago. But yeah, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's just one of those high points over there." And he's like, "Oh yeah, it'll work." So I just was like, "All right," you know, I was kind of not entirely sure because I just couldn't wrap my own mind around exactly how it worked yet. Well, now that I saw it and everything, I clearly see how it works. But so I got it, and sure enough, he was right. It works perfect. So yeah, that's it. It's a cool grip, and I'm going to be experimenting with grips. I'm going to put this one on my AR next. And don't have a lot much to say, but I do like this, and for the price, you know, I'm sure online you can get this thing for like $7-8, just like the UTG grip. In that case, UTG is kind of a better brand name, so I'd go with UTG. But an NC Star is kind of but this worked fine. I think they're pretty much the same thing almost. I noticed they mount the same way. They both have this bottom thing, as opposed to these side screws, you know. But yeah, that's the NC Star foregrip, and that's the whole foregrip thing that I'm starting to work on. It's pretty solid. You know, you can lift the gun with it, no problem. It's on there real solid, doesn't really move. So yeah, that's the NC Star foregrip. For the price, I recommend it. If you don't want to spend too much on a grip like me, you know, there you go. And like I said, I liked it's kind of a universal fit type of deal. So yeah, NC Star grip.